After desperately escaping into the fleeting safety of this ruinous tower, I fearfully wondered what was going on up there. Climbing the ladders that led me closer to the ruckus, I discovered a chest containing incomprehensible, esoteric knowledge, and finally mustered the courage to take a look, only to find cloaked individuals shielding their eyes in unison. Eyes that were burning. Ending their lives also seemed to put a stop to the maddening fire in the sky above me. What had they been doing? Taking a closer look at the surrounding area, I spotted a nearby village. This one was doing the exact same thing. Were they perhaps praying? Come along. Let me help you get closer to your god. There you go. What was this? A glowing ember, almost like a grape of fire that had burst. I slowly continued deeper into this unsettling village, helped more inhabitants in their quest for transcendence, and uncovered curious insights. Apparently, there were soldiers here as well, enjoying the quiet solitude of this remote settlement. By the gods, that was fire bursting from their eyes. What was going on here? Something was clearly amiss. Nearby, I found a small and rather alarming heirloom. It looked like a flirtatious man with no eyes. Despite that, I felt a sudden urge to punch his already disfigured face. Leaving this madhouse of a village, and now approaching a crumbling church on a steep hill, I stumbled on a transparent ghost, recalling a past lord by the name of Vike, who hadn't truly been, or so it seemed, the lord of something called the Frenzied Flame. This sorely disappointed ghost had been calling out for an eternity, for an incineration to put a stop to division and strife. What did he whisper now? May chaos take the world. This stirred something within me, and I recalled that fiery anger I had felt upon Irina's death. Who was that? Suspecting this wouldn't turn out well, I hurried inside the ruin and reached the glowing roots before getting stabbed by a burning spear and succumbing to blinding madness. What was that maiden's corpse doing here? And for how long had she been sitting like that? Her robe was blooded. She looked like the victim of a terrible crime. Had I not found a maiden murdered just like that when I came into this world ages ago? It didn't take me long to realize that this particular devil required a more filthy approach. The invader looked like a knight, but his iron armor bore a most vulgar burn scar in the shape of a finger. It really was a bit off-putting, hardly something that would attract maidens. To make things even worse, he also possessed that eerie ability to spew fire from his eyes. Not today, good sir. We agreed on a small break in the middle of this heated argument. This knight had issues, that much was certain. Oh no, what peculiar attack was that? I fled into the church and tried to catch my breath, just to get stuck between a bloody pillar and that explosive fellow. I wasn't worried. This was fine. Why don't you just die? Oh, on the other hand, it hadn't really required significant effort on my behalf. Here was another of those quaint grapes, this one bearing an ugly burn. Oh, the invader had left that great spear of his. It felt as if fire smoldered within it. Still, the ordeal had left me utterly fatigued. I was in need of silence, and for some reason felt weighed down. How come the cult of this village had longed for that frenzied ruler, capable of wreaking fiery havoc? There was so much I didn't know about the lands between. No matter how many fragments of knowledge I acquired, it felt like I was only scratching the surface. As dawn broke, I didn't particularly feel like returning to that sinister village of cultists, and took another path. The one less traveled by, and that made all the difference. Turned out it wasn't entirely practical, but before long we found our way down into a hidden area with not just one, but two of those wandering mausoleums. In my search for safe passage into the swamp, preferably with little or no suicidal riding on nightmarish cliffs. I was forced south. We passed bandit camps, and eventually, after dealing with a rare fear of heights, I arrived at a remote shack. It turned out to contain something out of the ordinary, a vivid painting depicting a landscape. Wait, was that the academy? Not far from here, a warrior wandered the lush terrain.
Hey!
Wasn't he dressed like that golden knight in Altus, the one near the giant stairway at the outskirts of the capital? What was he doing this far south? You don't have to do this. Oh dear, he really went out of his way to distance himself from everyone else. Did he just turn that gorgeous great sword of his into a wonder of lightning? It didn't have to be this way. You could have chosen a different path, friend. He had left me his beautiful sword, as well as a heavy prayer book adorned with a dragon, and somehow it was faintly crackling. Finally, I was close to the haunted wetlands, but as torrent leapt down onto the moist grass, near a crumbling ancient bridge, I was surprised by a lone figure. Would you look at that? It was the young woman fond of those strange grapes. She was such a sweetheart, and for some reason, still alive.
Hello? Is someone there? Would you donate any Shabiri grapes in your possession to me? I'm on a pilgrimage, in search of the distant light, and when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel the light in the back of my eyes.
Not without disgust, I grabbed one of the squishy ones and handed it to her.
Many thanks to you. Now I can feel the distant light once more. That aside, I wonder what Shabiri grapes really are. Delectably tender and sweet, yet searing. What a sight they must be to behold.
Then it struck me. With a sudden and terrible awareness of my own cowardice, I realized why I had been so unwilling to examine those grapes. Oh, please no. They were eyes.
No. That's not possible. Not all of those people. Their own... So those noises I heard were...
She had been eating the flesh of men all this time, and I was the one who had been feeding her.
Sorry. I'm all right now. Don't mind me.
This was a bit awkward.
I apologize. You only did as I asked. I'll be fine. Think no more of it.
After giving her some space until nightfall, I sought her out again, hoping she was feeling better.
Is that you over there? I've gleaned something very important indeed, thanks to you.
Oh dear.
The reason why it was eyes I had to eat. The distant light.
I was beginning to suspect she was
and frail.
deranged.
So faint it can't be seen by the naked eye. But with everyone's eyes together, it appears. Finally, it all makes sense. I'm certain now.
Really? About what?
I will be a finger maiden.
A finger maiden? Why would she enter their service? That was even more repulsive than devouring forbidden flesh. At one point during the night, she had silently slipped away. Was it perhaps guilt? No, that didn't seem too likely, considering the stoic air that now radiated from her. An impressive transformation had taken place. Impressive and a bit disturbing as well. Her timid ways were gone, and she was now the epitome of resolution. I could learn a thing or two from that, and as I sat in solitary contemplation, I was reminded of my quest to seek out the rebirth offered by the mad mother of the academy. I would then be able to enter the royal capital, and as a changed and humble man, seize the throne, in need of true nobility.